One report said, and we can't confirm any of this, that a plane may have hit one of the two towers of the World Trade Center.
Oh, my God.
That looks like a second plane.
Our belief at the moment is that an aircraft has crashed into the Pentagon.
By 9:34 a.m., it had become clear to air controllers that yet another plane had been hijacked. Then word started reaching the press.
Across the scanner in our newsroom was said that there was a flight that was missing. There had been a flight that they thought was heading towards Pittsburgh or Johnstown, which is where I was, and they couldn't get in touch with it.
They were talking about Flight 93. It had changed direction and was apparently now over Pennsylvania. All indications were that the plane was heading towards the nation's capital. But the hijackers had been careful to turn off the transponder, cutting all communication with air traffic control. From a plane near Cleveland, a call came into the GTE phone center. It was particularly alarming.
When I took over the call, there was a gentleman on the line, very soft-spoken, calm.
The soft-spoken gentleman was Todd Beamer, a passenger on United 93.
I asked him to explain to me in detail what is happening on the plane. He told me there were 3 people that was taking over the flight.
They tied red bandanas around their head, got up, and that was when they forced their way into the cabin.
But when the hijackers stormed the cockpit, nobody on Flight 93 was primed to stop them.
Prior to September 11th, the way flight attendants were trained on a plane was to listen to the hijackers, to stay calm, and to comply with what their demands were.
Unreleased recordings indicate a struggle in the cockpit.
Well, in the cockpit, I think that what happened is the pilots had been subdued. I think their necks had been slashed, and they're strapped in. They've got no way of defending themselves. You can't turn around and fight. They're just sitting ducks.
But it only got worse. From the hijackers, there was a horrifying announcement.
The hijackers on the intercom saying, "There's a bomb on board. We have control of this plane. We're going back to the airport."
On the airphone, Todd Beamer had informed operator Lisa Jefferson about the hijackers' tactics.
He told me that they've taken control of the plane. The plane is going down. At this point, he raised his voice. He said, "We're going down. We're going down. No, we're coming back up. Wait, we're turning around. We're going back north. I think we're going north." At this point, I don't know where we're going.
In fact, they had turned around and were now going east. At 9:35, it appeared that the hijackers were headed for Washington, D.C. But this was no ordinary hijacking. The attack on the World Trade Center would soon become known to the passengers on Flight 93, who called relatives.
And that's when they knew that this plane wasn't just being flown back to an airport. Once those people on board that plane knew it, they knew there was no going back. I mean, this was the new reality of what we face now, and they were the first ones that realized they needed to do something.
In the air above Pennsylvania, a plot was brewing.
Ty told me that him and a few other guys were thinking about jumping the guy with the bomb. He felt that he had to do to try to save the plane, at least try to get the plane to land safely. And I told him that he had every hope, and I had hope for him that they could land the plane safely. He turned from me to speak to someone else, and he said, "Are you ready?" I couldn't hear their response. He said, "Okay, let's roll." That's the last I heard from Todd Beamer. The line was still open, but it was very silent. I didn't hear anything else. I kept that phone line open for about 15 additional minutes. And while our operations center was tracking the call, we heard that the plane had crashed in Pittsburgh. And I knew that was his flight. I felt that I had just lost a good friend.
A 35-foot deep pit in Pennsylvania became the grave of everybody on Flight 93.
People were drawn to Flight 93 because they felt those people on board were the first warriors in the battle against terrorism. And that's a theme you see in this temporary memorial over and over again in the messages people leave. Thank you for fighting back. Thank you for starting this fight against terrorists. I think people have thought that through and thought, would I do that? These people did something special.